Hi, I'm going to tell you a story about a woman named Chris and my heart horse, Nikos, who died many years ago. And Chris, it was about their relationship. And Chris came to one of my first animal communication classes. It was out on a property that I was caring for with a herd of horses, two of whom are now mine. And I had just moved Nikos onto the property. So he'd been my horse, but I just moved him there. And he was in a paddock about 2 acres by himself so that he could get used to the other horses over the fence. Okay, so she came to an animal communication class. And in the afternoon, after doing the exercises and sharing that we do in the morning, after lunch, we went outside and I asked people to just pick a horse on the other side of the fence. They weren't in with them. And just listen. Just decide who you wanted to listen to. Don't ask any questions. Don't expect answers. Just listen. And she walked along the fence and walked along the fence and got to where Nikos was, very far at the end in this separate grassy paddock. And I kind of followed her down. And we stood at the gate, didn't open it. She was to be outside. And Nikos was catty corner. So we're standing here and he's all the way catty corner at the other end. And he heard us come up and he whirled around and he locked eyes with her and cantered up. If you don't know horses, that's the 3-beat up and looked at her, stared her in the eyes, and I was like, whoa, he knows you. Okay, I'm leaving now. And so I walked away and left them alone. And she was writing notes. And the connection was so strong because I knew this horse. He brought me to this work. I mean, I know how he was. And so I didn't ask. I didn't ask her what she'd written about. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask. When we went back and shared, she shared in the group, I'm sure, but not specifics. So a couple weeks later, she called me up and asked if she could come visit Nikos. She wanted to visit him again and see if she could hear. And I'm like, sure. I was at home working. And she came and I brought him out of the paddock with the other 4 horses and put him on the lawn next to he's not going anywhere. He's not going to leave his herd. And she had brought a chair and an apple. And I asked her to be sure to bite pieces off so he didn't swallow the whole apple. And I left. Again, she had her chair and her apple and her notebook. And about an hour later, she knocked on the door and said she was finished. And so we brought him in and put him away, and she left. I did not ask her. I just knew it was so personal. I've never asked her. This is 20 years ago. So she was happy. She left. She was not a friend. She was a student. We were friendly, but I didn't see her. She lived quite a distance from me. And I didn't hear from her again until a few days after Nikos died. It was a few months later, I'm trying to think when he moved there in March, November, he became ill and he died the following. I had to euthanize him the following February. And she called me. We may have spoken once. I don't think we had. She called me a few days after he died and said, I just have this feeling something's wrong with Nikos. How is he okay? What's going on with Nikos? And 20 years later, I still cry. That connection. And I said, I'm so sorry. He's gone. And just her voice, no, no, no. And so I'm telling you, sorry, I love my horse. It was so moving. And I felt bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you. He was ill for quite a few months. He had EPM, you horse people. We thought he'd recovered, and then one morning he was down. He couldn't get up. It attacks the central nervous system. So, but the fact that she knew, and yes, she'd taken my class, and my class is really good, but she'd only taken half the class when 2 of them connected on the property, right? And then to have that much of a connection. I mean, it's the intro class. It's like it's like you can go far with it. I'm not putting down my class, but there was something very special there. And what the class teaches you is to trust that you know how to do this already. To trust. And she did. And she called. And so anyway, but there's no moral here. It's just trust. I guess that's it. If you're hearing something or you feel a strong connection, because we all have this ability, have this capacity, and classes can help you believe it, expand it, deepen it. And I have a program. I have 3 levels of classes that help you to do that. But you've got it. And that story moves me so deeply. I wanted to share it with you. So I'm Pam Sorellis of Winged Horse Healing, and you can learn more about my work with animals and my classes at wingedhorsehealing.com. See you soon.